morning, viewers. Yes, we're reaching you live from our Srtv studio in London. This is Wake Up Nigeria. My name is Princess Cassie, and I have with me, as usual,
Daddy Chris.
of course, we have Mary and Kenneth in standby already, joining us all the way from Abuja. Good morning, guys.
Morning. Morning.
How are you today?
I'm okay. I'm good.
So
How is Abuja today? I don't understand. We're seeing so much coming in. But before Kano, your president arrived yesterday, Kenneth, all the way from Germany after so much meetings and all that. And of course, there's a statement by the president. He did say that why he deserved to be listed in Guinness World Record, and that is your dear president. He says that he during his tenure in as governor, he did quite a lot. He actually transformed the state, and since he came into power as a president, he hit the ground running immediately. And so with his reforms so far as a president, he should be listed in the Guinness World Record.
who's saying that? The
The
president?
president.
Oh, he's saying that. Okay, that is what we call we call it visual. I don't call it. I would call it self-masturbation. You understand? Kenneth, this your president is out of order, or is he sick?
No, he's not. Actually, I think if you study the man Bola Ahmed Tinubu more closely, you understand he's actually a very comical fellow. He's a very funny person. He has this way of trying to bring in life. The average Yoruba guy likes making things alive. Bringing things alive. So
Okay,
saying some things. Saying he wants to be in the Guinness Book of Records is not. It's not literal. It's not like as if there's any position in Guinness Book of Records for the best president ever. But he's saying, looking at his antecedents, looking at what he's been, known to do, and the bold steps he's taking so far since he's coming to power. That probably
it's like the lizard. The lizard fall from the tree when we were young. We were in second primary school. There's this book we read. My primary school teacher, I never forget the man, Mr. Nushere. He said when the lizard fall from top of the tree, he begins to nod. Because the place is quite high, he fall down with the belly, and nobody's praising him. Then he nod himself. This I'm doing well. So Baba is praising himself that he's doing well. That is a comic way of saying it, Kenneth. He's a joker. That's the right word to use.
No, he is doing well actually.
Let's just assume that Baba is a joker. He's good at making jokes. Kenneth, anybody that is good at making jokes is a joker. Is that right?
No. He's been doing well actually. If you want to.
What are the things he has been doing since he's
No, Kenneth, humor, anything is joke. So Baba is a joker. That's a good word. All right, let's not take that one. So we shouldn't take him serious. Kenneth, in other words, we should not take that seriously. Is that not what you're saying?
No, the statement itself should not be taken into context in the wrong view. But what I'm saying,
in other words,
I don't understand. Somebody says something. He even referred to while he was the governor, and now he came.
Yes.
He started his reform. Everything he has done so far,
And
people can attest to it.
And
And you're saying it's a joke. A joke. You won't have to go into details.
Come on.
He
The joke-
quite a lot.
the joke is him asking to be in the Guinness Book of Record, but the fact is that everything he said is done. He has done it. You can attest to me that Lagos.
So in other words, Kenneth, he thinks he's doing very well as a president.
No, he has been doing very well.
Okay, I see. I hear you. Okay. Now we are in the same page. It's up to Nigerians to decide. We present, Nigeria decide.
cannot
Anyway,
get that.
we have also, quite a lot coming in. Senator Ali did say going forward, elections results should be uploaded, and that will be mandatory. And you know that now that senators are now wading into INEC issues, since INEC can't do these things, are we sure that tomorrow they are still going to come and do exactly what the senators are now demanding? I don't know if they will pass that into law, but he just said that under the current law, it is not mandatory for INEC to upload results. But he said going forward, that means they are going to amend the laws.
Yes.
Going forward, results should be will be mandatory for you to immediately upload them.
Yes.
So no issues. as to why something is not working or something didn't work. And that's coming from Senator Ali. A lot of people have actually been, since yesterday, they've been involved with him on that statement. Some feel like it's not to do with hearing that tomorrow people will still come and do something else. You people will still come and tell us. People will still come and tell us that something happened or something went wrong and it did not work. So do not bring the don't give us that energy and tomorrow you people do what? Throw it to the dust. And that's what
No, no, that
Nigerians.
is not good though. Let the man, if the man said they're going to do that, they should. You understand? It was the reform that made us to have hope. It's a continuous process. I agree with the senator. You understand? What the essence of any practice is when you do something, if it's not perfect, you didn't get it right, you keep doing it the right way and making corrections. It's just that we only have, the what did they say? They say it's in things fall apart. They said as the as the shooter learns to shoot without missing.
Okay.
What did the bird learn to do? They learn to fly without perching. So that is where we are. Our Nigerian politicians will learn and they will devise a way to bastardize it anyway, but at least let them begin to improve on the system. You understand? Because they were able to defeat beavers. Baba and his team, if it is true, they defeated beavers because it was a last-minute game. You understand? And if you see what happened, it was when the problem in the election was really between the time from the polling booth to the accumulation center and getting to INEC. That is where the whole thing happened because we saw figures change and all that. So if they had uploaded everything right there, you finish, you upload. So everybody can then monitor. After you upload it now, we see it in our present. Every the message and young people will hold, listen, young people will hold presiding officer accountable. You finish, upload it. So they know. It's not even see at that time our fate is not in the hands of the presiding of the returning officer or the party agent because they could be compromised. Our fate is in our hands. When we finish, upload it. When you finish uploading, if they want to go and change the INEC reg, that will be up to them. And that a time will come that it should be displayed immediately. Not only just uploading. After uploading, Nigerians should see the result immediately. That social state that social booth has uploaded. This is their result. You understand? So that begins to happen. So the result begins to come.
And so everybody from their own units begins to monitor their own. And
Their own.
everybody is more
Exactly. I agree with the senator.
Because imagine the day of Kogi election, I had somebody, a lawyer that was supposed to speak for me. He apologized that, Princess, I am standing here. I don't trust anybody. Well, they are counting the votes, In Nigeria, the more you look, the less you see. So we're putting our eyes, we're standing with them to make sure that nothing go wrong. And so also there is, there is a story here that says, God gave me the opportunity to serve my country. I did my best, but whether my best was good enough, I leave that for people to judge. And that is coming from the ex-president this morning. Buhari says that God gave him the opportunity to serve. He did his best. Whether the best is good enough is left for people now to judge. What do you think, Kenneth?
Well, you see, we might want to say a lot against Muhammadu Buhari, but the truth is that if anything brought him to power, it was a providence. There was really the hand of God in it, because he did not have the resources. He did not really have all the fan base. Yeah, I know that in CPC, and the Northern Alliance and the belief in Buhari was so high, but it took a measure and it brought about other people stepping down for his own purpose. So God being there is known, but if he's asking that if Nigerians are so happy with the way he governed the country, well, I can tell you the feeling is not very, very cordial amongst a lot of Nigerians who had issues of military overzealousness and killing and everything. And we had the judicial killings with the SARS. We had problems with the economy. We had a lot of things did not go so right with his government, but God did it for him. He was there. He has tried, and like I said, we don't miss him. So he should stop saying things now. We don't miss him. Let him
It
stay.
depends.
Let him stay back. We are trying
You don't
to.
miss him.
No, we don't miss him. We're only trying to
Mary, do you miss him?
work on his errors.
Mary, do you miss him?
Do you know what I want to say? He's just trying to just say a lot of negative things about Buhari, forgetting his own present president. The thing is, if you say you don't miss Buhari, then I want you to also point out some of the things that this president is doing that is not right. Because I'm not saying it. To me, they are the same people. It's the same
No,
thing
they're
that
not.
they are
Definitely,
doing.
they are not.
That's just
They
it.
are not. So you're
No,
talking about.
correct. I like the energy between you and Mary. It's Mary that is really ready to deal with you. We need Mary to handle you. You understand? I say they will come. Mary will just hold your throat for this thing you are saying. It's gonna be serious.
Anyway, we're going to be talking about the crisis in Kano State. It's been a chaos. It's been commotion. It's been unease since yesterday in Kano. The residents from both parties clashing here and there, and of course, the errors from the courts. These are some of the issues we'll be looking at the end of the review. But we'll move quickly now to the reviews we have, and I'm going to start with the Punch newspaper. These are some of the stories we have coming from the Punch. We have here as the main headline: Kano poll controversy. Police and NPP protesters clash. More cloud over judgment. And the writer says courts APC blame clerical error. NNPP Labour Party insists judgment doctored. Yusuf heads to Supreme Court, says appeal court lacks jurisdiction to determine party membership. All these stories on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Niger Junta sues Tinubu ECOWAS over court rules December 7. Niger Junta sues Tinubu ECOWAS court rules December 7 on page 3 of the Punch newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says fresh naira scarcity hits Kano, Sokoto, Edo, others on page 25 of the Punch newspaper. We have a story here that says FG slashes wage award by 100 billion naira, Labour kicks. And that story is on page 30 of the Punch newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Fintiri intervenes as soldier kill inspector in Adamawa. That story is on page 5, 4, and 5 of the Punch newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Senate passes NTEF to probe tax waivers under Buhari. That story is on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. We have a story here that says police tear gas protesters shade on CG from mob. That story is on page 28 of the Punch newspaper. As well, there's a story here that says 1.2 billion naira fraud. Emefiele gets 300 million naira bail restricted to Abuja. That story is on page 28 of the Punch newspaper.
So now they are working. It's like Emefiele has finally got himself in the real trouble. This is exactly what we'll be looking at for. If you say the man has done anything, we want to see him. Now it's like they have a case against him, and they are now, I think they are running him, and now he's under bail. Let's see how that goes on. You see, if Emefiele has committed any crime, he has to go in for it. You understand? That is something that we commend the government for. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. You understand? Because all this while I thought, hey, Babai was just pursuing him because he wasn't on their good book. But if they have anything against him for real, from what we can see now, I'm on for it. And that is a very good, it's a starting point. But what is this Kano issue? What's going on there?
Yes, we've seen that there's a lot coming in from Kano. Police and NPP protesters clash. I think the resident, I spoke to somebody from Kano. He was supposed to come on the show today. I don't know what's going on. I'm not able to reach him this morning. But he did say that the protest is quite massive over there. And residents are currently, are not happy with the judgment of the appeal court. A lot of them are saying that Yusuf is their governor, and that is what they need. But we know that I spoke to another person this morning that said whatever happens, he will leave. APC will have to take over that seat. These are some of the issues we have. And then there's an error, Kenneth. What do you make of that error?
You see, like I said yesterday, personally, I think there's a sabotage somewhere within the judicial system in respect to this particular case, because the court has still come out to say that this is not their judgment, that whatever you see now is a clerical error. So for me, it's very, very troubling, because
It is. It
it means
is.
we have moves within the system that don't work with the system, because the system is saying this is our judgment. And then a clerk, you can imagine, as you know, as we can even think as common as it is in the court system, is now the reason for massive protests within a state, because now people are, this has played, you know, it has flickered a kind of a fire within emotions, because let's be real, this is politics, and when people lose power, you don't expect them to be so happy. They are saying a lot of people are protesting in Kano State, but I also know that a lot of people had their shops demolished by this present governor, for reasons being that it was built on state land. So when the state government builds project on state land, does that warrant a government to, you know, to demolish, even when they say the project has been cornered by some people? What I'm saying is this:
Kenneth,
the problem from the court, sir.
let's not go into that. People
No,
build.
the problem from the court is
uh,
clerical. No,
yeah.
the problem from the court is clerical, and is
Yeah.
is a very big problem, because this is sabotage. If the court
Yes.
is giving a ruling and a certified true copy that is released is having another different judgment, then it's troubling.
It is, it is, and I want us to keep it in focus, because this is it's a developing situation, and we need to be really careful. It is something we need to be really careful, because I do know that the present governor will have the support of Kwakwasu and NNPC, the NNPP, yeah, have been they are popular in Kano. You understand? That's a fact. You understand? And the technicality here, you know, is disturbing, because it's like a particular set of votes has been disqualified. And if that is the case, then you lose the governor. You understand? If they're asking for a rerun of that particular area, that would have been something. I don't know where the judgment of this court is coming from. I really need to look at that case carefully again. And
The judgment actually is not even centered on voting or electoral issues. It is
Yes.
centered on party nomination. You know, there are two factions in the party. They had two parallel conventions. That was before the emergence of Yusuf, the governor. So that is what APC is using on the case. Not that they
In
want.
fact, no, but can the court rule on that? In fact, this is rubbish. You understand? Is it the duty of the court to wait, Kenneth? If they have an internal issue, I don't think that is the case, Kenneth. Because if they have an internal issue between the party, you know, that is something that would have been resolved within the party, and as long as the party filing a candidate, INEC will respect the candidate presented by the party. Is INEC taking two candidates?
The question here is, did they flash the electoral laws? You know, at the end of the day, technicalities will always, you know, have their way in cases. Electoral law says that, you know, the party should file in a candidate, you know, before the election, should send in their nomination. And of course, it was the nomination that was sent to INEC that they have to work with. But it's now being put aside by another court that particular convention that produces candidates is not and void. And as such, the party does not have any candidates during the elections. That
technicality is too huge. In fact, they're looking for chaos. I thought, because there was a result that came from a particular area that was deemed not that didn't go according to the rules, and as such, social numbers were yanked out, and that was why. Because anyway, I really want to look in that case, and I won't be speculating on what I don't know in details, like I said. But what is really disturbing is this, Kenneth. When you see situations like this unfolding, Kano is one of the biggest states in Nigeria. You understand? One of the biggest, if not the biggest, and we should be careful what happened there, because they will all be divided opinion. I'm worried that you know, this your APC, to be careful. But I think they're going to kick the man out. Unfortunately,
well, we wait for the Supreme Court judgment, because as we can see that the Yusuf has already filed 10 grand motion, highest court, to the Supreme Court, and we'll see what happens at the end of the day. And moving forward, like I said, that will be an issue we'll discuss later. So I really don't want us to waste much time right now. We might have somebody from Kano. I'm still trying to get across to him. And there's a story here that says FG slashes wage award by 100 billion naira. Labor kicks. Kenneth, I don't know what's up with your government.
Well, Princess, Labour
If you
always.
ask, let me hold on. We know that.
Yeah, you see, supporting this labor, do they know what they're doing at all?
Oh, was it because of the recent,
Yes, because
that
they just
government had
called
to
they called
slash the
strike.
wage of what?
No,
What
no,
has labor
no,
now
no.
you're
What
going
the
to punish
strike?
the
The strike.
workers?
No, but it's the labor that is raising. Is the ugly head that I want to know. The first time they went on strike, they could not address this, and these are the things we talk about today. Now we're going on the strike. Because at the end of the day, we want to go for one good strike and the things are resolved. Not today, we talk another one, the next day it's another one. Maybe the Christmas money is gone, another one or what? I doubt this.
You people are not getting FG slashes wage award by 100 billion naira. Labor kicks.
Okay.
So why are we fighting labor here?
The same labor is one that took us on the last trouble, right? What was the issue about? Is it not the same palliative and all that? Because I was asking, the last question I asked, was that strike because of the beating of the labor boss or because of these issues? They said is that the predominant issue is the economic situation in the country. So, and I assume that this would have been addressed in that table. Are you saying now that the government just immediately make a turn around after that meeting and slash wages?
Kenneth, go ahead. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, you see, the question of what was slashed actually is the increments in wage,
Wage
for
award. So why are we not focusing on that?
for
That's
civil
where I'm not.
servants, pending this fuel subsidy problem. So when Labour looked at the data from the finance ministry released about the recent budget that was appropriated, supplementary. But the question is this: if Labour is kicking because federal government is slashing down on the wage award, then that means Labour is also insensitive to the fact that we might not really have all the money to keep paying. And I think government wants to
But
move
yesterday,
money.
hold on, Kenneth. But yesterday you saw where your governor security vote. They have billions to fly to eat meals. Now we don't have much to give to workers, Nigerian workers.
Princess, giving more to them is still like giving more palliative to the Nigerian economy. I think if the money is being used for other purposes, like we've seen this government has shown, that they want to put money into other sectors that might even cushion
Like what?
Like what?
Like what, Kenneth?
Like what?
Public transport system. We're having about 3,000 CNG, cars that will be sent down to the country probably from next week being distributed over the states. This is to drop down on the prices of fares. So the government is looking at sectors because this is just it's just a wage, it's an award, it's not even an increment in the wages. So Labour should rather come back to the negotiation table to look at the increment in wages so that they can come to a reasonable agreement with the federal government on that. Not 30,000, 35,000, 25,000 being awarded according to their levels in the civil service. That is just a temporary measure.
Can I want to agree with you, but I'm a little bit confused. You understand? If Labour is saying today that the wages is unacceptable in the first place, you understand? Not these stupid awards. We not even be Labour should not be discussing award. The payment of Nigeria. You see, I saw this beautiful video yesterday where this is the only country that pays its people this amount of money on earth, less than £30 a month, and you're crying. But the same country can pay a senator £100,000 per month. Is sickening. You understand? And if that is what the Labour is saying, then it should be a regular issue, not even something we want to. They just raise one head because government did something.
No,
that
sir.
it should be there.
We did bring somebody here, if you remember, to speak on the wage award in one of our morning shows.
Yes.
From Labour, and they did say that this is just according to the federal government to cushion the effect
Yes,
of
Princess, I hear you.
fuel subsidy removal, which the government promised that after a while, the effect on the people will be, normal, like what's it called? They will be, fuel subsidy to an extent. By then, apparently, Dangote would have been giving us fuel, and things will normalize more than this. So this is just a way of, the workers trying to you still have money to go to work, you still have money to
Okay,
feed. So
princess.
it's like palliative for the
This
workers.
is what I'm saying. Princess, I hear what you're saying.
But
in the
sir,
first
why
place,
are we
you want to fight.
slashing it? Because Kenneth is telling us now that
I'm not supporting the slashing.
No,
of
no, Princess,
I'm telling
not
you,
like,
Lagos
it's
should
not
be
like
discussing the
the entire
major
money.
issue. You
Like,
understand?
it's not like the
If
entire
Labour
money
doesn't have
is
shame, if Labour does not have shame, if they know what they're doing, they should be concerned that the wage in Nigeria is unacceptable.
And
That is
Labour
not
has
something.
been doing
If
that.
I,
You know that
it should
is
be
what-
it should be the theme of that strike.
Sir,
Bloody
hold
hell.
on. That is what Labour has been doing over the years.
Over the years,
And
we are still here.
hold on, sir. And then they went on agreement with the federal government. And federal government said, okay, right now we'll not be able to increase, but let's do a wage award. After 6 months, I quote the federal government. After 6 months, then the whole economic crisis would have been, stabilized and would have had more, maybe producing fuel and all that within. And the what's it called, hardship will not be this much, but this 6 months that we know that we're trying to reform the economy, let the workers have something to fall back to.
I agree with you.
Hold on, sir.
Wait.
And these people, and they signed an agreement.
Yes, I hear you.
Why is federal government going back to this?
That is one story.
Tomorrow,
One
when Labour kicks or stand up, people will see our Labour.
No, wait. Let me come in here. The federal government of Nigeria actually declared that they've raised some huge amount of money from the time the subsidy has been off. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
We saw that on the news.
If the thing I don't understand is this, there is subsidy removal. It's either it translates to automatic wage increment, not palliatives. If labor is insane, it's not insane. I'm sorry. If it's not palliative, it should because you know what happened? Since the federal government are raising more money, they are sharing more money to the states. So the Nigerians who are actually suffering are left alone. And what they did, they gave palliative to some few. And Labour is telling us we should go to work for the few. I'm saying that it should be automatic because the money is not coming in. You took it from here. It's Nigeria. It's allocation of resources. It's not as if the money has increased or it has gone down. Since the money is not coming, since we are not spending it here, we should come to us. We are the people that were using the oil. We're the one that enjoy the subsidy. If the federal government say we should not use the money for that, then either the money come to us or it should be used to invest on alternative that will save us from this. Instead, Labour was comfortable that they were going to pay some people 35,000 naira, and they were
federal workers.
That was a deal.
Federal workers.
And that was a deal. And I'm saying now that why would Labour even accept that kind of deal at all? Because if the money is from us and it's not taken from the federal government, so it means the federal government have more money and the state government have more money because they are not talking. But in Nigeria, other Nigerians is suffering. My disappointment is Labour not really taking on that the money you took from us to be given back to us. It should not be even a debate. Go on strike for that. Nigeria will support you. You see, Labour is supposed to be on the side of the ordinary workers. I can feel it in Nigeria. I'm ashamed that the country I come from pay 30,000 naira salary.
Anyway, we move on to the next newspaper now, and that will be the Daily Trust.
And here the big headline says, Appeal Court insists on Governor Yusuf sack, admits error in certified judgment.
They were
The rider says, protests rock Kano. NNPP approaches Supreme Court, rejects request for CTC retrieval. Judgment reads in courts more important. Is coming from APC. Contradictory verdict, embarrassing scandalous, coming from Yadudu Falana. And all the stories are on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And here we have another story that says 25 killed in Niger road crash. And you can find that story on page 3 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And here we have another story that says Chase Bank appoints Haruna Musa as MD CEO. And that story is on page 26 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We have another story that says Nasarawa Guba dispute. Appeal Court delivers judgment today. And you can find that story on page 8 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And we have another story that says Ondo in coma as Akeredolu hangs on to power. can find that story on page 12 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And here we have another story that says missing radio tower. NSCDC takes responsibility, begins investigation. You can find that story on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And here we have another story that says Osun governor not for failing to hold cabinet meeting. And that story is on page 21 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And you have another story that says how army police clash led to inspector's death in Adamawa. You can find that story on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And these are all the stories we have this morning at the Daily Trust.
Mm. We've seen that. I think the judiciary is even the problem of Nigeria. Let's start from there. How can you tell us that error insist see, just imagine the commotion in that state. Imagine these youths now. Before you know now, they'll say somebody injured or something happened. People are now losing their shops, crisis up and down. How can there's a story here there's a story here that I think there's one of the rider.
In fact, the people saying, listen, sometimes you can blame the court as much as you want. This could be have been an error. And people going on strike because of the error. They're going on strike because of they're not happy with the judgment. Let's be sincere with that. You understand? It's not the mistake that is causing this trouble. They are not happy with the judgment. And they will always be, because the man has been in power for some time. He must have had his own fans. He must have enemies as well, because when you govern a state of that magnitude and you begin to tell people to do things the right way, you're going to make enemies. So sometimes I want to know, sometimes in Nigeria, we should learn to understand why we're having enemies. People that have enemies are people that tell the truth. They kill Jesus Christ because Jesus Christ was telling them the truth. That's the only reason they kill Jesus. It's not because of anything else. So, and I don't know what the governor must have done wrong or what he has done right. He has his supporter, and those are the people. And this thing is not unexpected. The question is, how do we avoid this kind of situation next time? I think comes to what Falana had just said, that this thing should be done before you even swear them in.
That's just the best.
You're allowed, yes.
Yes, when we know we have the tribunals, and of course after the court, the tribunals are always very busy. So let's just there should be a law after election, a period of time
Yes.
for tribunal cases.
Exactly.
And once the tribunal decide, we trash them and we
Move on. It is very important. So we have, say, election ends today. We give them 2 months before swearing in.
I think
You understand?
yes.
And swearing in, all the things, all the commotion will be done. So because you see what the party was saying, or the member of the house was saying, that they need to go home and go and deal with their cases. Because 90% of people in the House of Rep today in Senate, they have cases at home. So the first thing, they looked our money to go and end that case first. So the first money they earn is to go and spend money on judges. Anyway, the boys of the legal profession are smiling.
Yes, and even yesterday we saw where someone was saying that the commissioner denies funding or sponsoring, that someone did not use Lagos State money for tribunal cases here and there. So these are some of the issues. When we are done with these issues, they cannot focus
on governance. And like we said, you look at how long exactly. Look at how long the president actually spent. You understand, with Atiku and Labour and all that. In fact, it's not good for us. All I'm saying is, whatever their grievances, we're suffering. It's our money. They're wasting it. And instead of putting things, we have a problem, we are hungry. Instead of us thinking of how we're going to feed now, we're all thinking of how they're going to resolve their issues in court, and they come back to us. And the good thing is they manage to separate us, so we end up killing ourselves again for them.
That's the thing. And Kenneth, there's a story here that say Ondo in coma as Akeredolu hangs onto para. We know that since he returned from his medical trip, there's been back and forth with the deputy, as the deputy was trying to actually make moves then, he actually became the number one citizen until Akeredolu came back. Yes, came not just coming back. When Akeredolu came back, I brought somebody here from there that told us that, now it's as if the deputy has now formed, Ayo Datiwa has now formed, you know,
His own cabinet.
his own cabal. That
Mhm.
now they are not trying, even with the presence of the governor, they are not still
Trying
trying to,
to sideline
to
the
sideline him, while others are trying to also,
bring it back.
impeach the deputy governor
Of course,
as well.
there will be
So it's
chaos.
it's been back and forth, Kenneth, and we can see that the state is actually not in coma.
Well, you see, for me, it boils down to the State House of Assembly. If the State House of Assembly is up and doing, the accusations from the two camps are actually very valid. The deputy governor, his camp has been alleging that Akeredolu is not fit to govern, that he's sick, he's weak, he's tired, he's disoriented. He does not even remember things at times because of the heavy medications and probably surgery and the rest. But what I'm saying is this: if
Is
the
that
state
the
of
deputy governor saying it, or who is saying
yes,
so?
his own his own caucus. Of course, they will
Okay,
not come
his
up
own
immediately,
the
but
cabinet. Is that what the cabinet is saying? Because it's disturbing, Kenneth.
that
Because
is it
who
because
is it? Where is
it's a
it coming
cabinet.
from? Eh?
It's a cabinet that is still in power because it is the governor that put them there. So there is still some element of loyalty within the cabinet. If I expected any other group to wade into this and see the reasons, it should be the State of Assembly, because the governor's camp is also alleging that while the governor was out of country, that the deputy had embezzled money through some shark projects that he stole with his cronies and shared money. So for me, it's very valid that the State of Assembly comes into this matter. If possible, if it were in Senate climes, they would have written to the governor to get them his medical bill of health, give them a doctor's report, or to tell them exactly what he's feeling and how he's feeling. Those of the APC and the governors of the APC, I'm not in support of people who cling on to power when they are not so strong, when they are not very, very healthy.
Kenneth,
Kenneth,
is
is
there
that
any
coming
proof that the
from
man
his?
is unfit?
Is that coming
Well,
from
that repeats
when we had Buhari, we had
ever
the
since he came
president
back
that are
from
not
his
very strong.
Is the
ever
man
since he came
unfit?
back from his
Kenneth,
medical trip.
is the man unfit? Who said so? What
This
evidence do we have?
ever since he came back from his medical trip, he's rarely seen in public. He has not been making statements. State House of Assembly, state council meetings have not been holding, and the rest. But for me, that is why I say I am not of anyone, but the State House of Assembly should wade into the crisis, should look into whatever accusations is coming up, have an independent and non-partisan approach to it. Look into what the governor is complaining about his deputy. Look into what the deputy is saying about the governor, and then build up from there so that the state can move forward.
I agree.
You
Because
know,
at
you
the end
know,
of the day, it's the people suffering.
but Kennedy State House of Assembly, the issue now is that they are not divided. It would have been better if they still, like, we still have one house there. And so as it stands, we already have this faction, these people, set of people are for Akeredolu, these are for Ayodatiwa. So that is where the problem is.
My challenge with the average politician in Nigeria is that they take positions without bringing facts. If the some parts of the State of Assembly feel that Akeredolu should not be in power, then they should be bold enough to sponsor a motion for that, calling for the governor. A governor, by constitution, can be called to the House of Rep, can be called to the House of Assembly rather. They have the power to summon him and say, "Come, we want to talk to you." The reason I say this is because it is a tendency for people in not just Nigeria but in Africa, leaders, to want to hold on to power when their health is failing them. So I am very, very much of an opinion that they should call Akeredolu to a house, and then at the same time they should also call even the EFCC, the ICPC, and other relevant agencies should look into the accusation of embezzlement and money laundering that the other camp has levied against the deputy governor. So that, because if this continues, the problem is this: a divided House of Assembly will not focus on their job and the responsibility to go and investigate, look into government projects, supervise the agencies of government and the rest. They will all spend their time playing politics over who is healthy, who is sick, who stole money, and who did not steal money. That is where I'm looking at it from.
I understand your point, Kenneth, perfectly. We move on quickly now to the next newspaper, that will be the Vanguard. These are some of the stories we have coming from the Vanguard, and the main headline here says, Kanu, we stand by our verdict sacking Governor Yusuf, appeal courts. And the writer says NNPP files appeal at Supreme Court, wants NJC to probe appeal court judgments, insist CTC confirms its candidates. Yusuf won on appeal. There is no confusion. That is coming from APC. Demands CTC of appeal court judgment. Appeal court registrar dismisses controversies trailing CTC of judgment, clerical cleric says it's clerical error. Protests rock Kano. All these stories on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. There's a story here that says why I deserve to be listed in Guinness World Records. That's coming from the president on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. We also have a story here that says a Papa gridlock. Truckers defy Sanwo-Olu's directive, return block roads. That is on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. There's a story here that says FG to drive tax through enforcement of laws on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. There's a story here that says Ababi receives NNPCL management. You can see the picture there, and that story is on page 23 of the Vanguard newspaper. Israel Hamas conflict has gone from war to terrorism. That's coming from Pope Francis on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Now, these are some of the stories we have. And there's a story here that says 2023, Edo, Ebonyi, Anambra top list of electoral offenders. And that story is on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. These are some of the stories we have. And Ondo political crisis, intervene now. Faso Ronti, Fali, others tells Tinubu. And that story is on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. These are all the stories we have coming from the Vanguard. And of course, there's a story here that says we've seen most of these stories before, but there's a story here coming from Pope Francis. Israel Hamas conflict has gone from war to terrorism.
No, this is the most liberal pope that has ever. Since I've been a Catholic, this one is most liberal. You understand? And I will not be surprised. This is the only pope that said not only Christians will go to heaven. No. You understand? He is a very, very liberal pope. And I know he have something behind his tongue. Truth. That man doesn't give a damn. You understand? And he will say it as it is. Well, I always keep my reservation on this issue because I want to be alive. There are things I talked about. And I stay away from religion, you understand? Not because I don't want to offend people, because I felt there are too many truths to end this story. You understand? It's just like the Christians have their own truth, the Muslims have their truth, the African tradition have their own truth. And when people have a truth, they die by their truth. The question is, do we have a universal truth? And that is the issue of our time. You understand? Too many truths. What is true to me may not be true to you. And that is religion. You understand? So, and by the time society come together and say, let us live as one, meaning we have to ignore our truth. That's why we live in a secular state. The question is on this particular issue. Only this Pope dare to say that I'm living religion. Let's see the truth, the universal truth, which is humanity. In terms of humanity, what is happening in Israel and Palestine today, there's no humanity there. And truth has become a problem to humanity. I mean, individual truths. Religion becomes a problem to humanity. That's what I'm trying to say, Doctor. Yeah. It's disturbing.
Kenneth, there's a story here that says FG to drive tax through enforcement of laws. Do you think this will work?
Well, definitely it will work. The problem is with the workers work. Because at the end of the day, FG might want to mandate that. They might want to empower the agencies, give them that, authoritative way to go in and enforce and do. But there is always compromise, most times, from the civil service. Because those of them in the FIRS, kudos to them for what they do and how they make their money. But most times you see, there's disparity between enforcement. it looks like as if there are certain organizations within Nigeria that don't even pay tax at all. That increase, like you say, you want to leave. Maybe let me also hold my thoughts on most times the mission schools, the mission universities, the churches, they don't pay tax. Some highly placed government officials that own businesses don't pay tax. Dangote and some. Even let me not go into calling them so that I will leave.
Yes, yes, better son. Leave them alone. Leave them alone.
So,
Leave them alone. We do that another day. We do that another day.
so it's not about government having a directive. It's about the workers on the field, because they are the ones that will enforce this. They are the ones that will relate with what is happening on the field. So we have a lot of funds leaking in our internally generated revenue.
It's not people not paying tax. Is equal to terrorism.
That's
meaning the money will be left in the hands of the few. Government need to take taxes. A white government takes from the rich and use it to calm the society poor, so that we can live in harmony, so that there can be security. Until there's no way government have all the money. Anywhere in the world, the rich pay more, and the poor are being cared for what? For sanity of the system. You understand? In Nigeria, I'm sorry, it's eventually the civil servant, the poor that pays tax. You understand? And it goes across all sector, down to the businessman on the street. You tell them to pay tax, they are angry. And Lagos is trying it, and they're not finding it funny. But the question is, Kenneth, I know when you say it now, if we pay, we will see the money. The question is, have you paid yours? Society, you expect a lot from the government. We are here accusing the government today. Government have not done this, government have not done this. What have we done for the government? I won't say government, it's like Tinubu. It's not Tinubu. The government is us. We're going to kick Tinubu out and put somebody else. So somebody else could be there tomorrow. You understand? So what we're saying is, what are we giving back to society so that society will be in peace? The reason we're having this security problem is some people are left behind. It's a fact. No reasonable person will want to go and kidnap people if he's doing well. You understand? And these are the things. Which man in this right sense will carry a gun? If there's a level of education, there's a level of refinement you will have, and you won't do that, no matter how. And I'm saying that if society want to move forward, maybe us giving more to the society. Come to think of it, there are some houses in Festa. Go to this Abuja that nobody's living there.
Yeah, sure.
And they don't pay anything for that, for owning that mansions. Nothing. Come and have that kind of mansion in UK. Your tax alone. You see, this is the system here. The system here allows you can do anything. For driving your car, you pay. For your house, a flat, I live in London, I pay £250 monthly. That is local government tax. So, and I'm saying £250 is more than your salary. So when we're talking salaries, you understand? Why? The government need to make money. Yeah. In return, we're getting they pick up our debts anyhow. You understand? Things are moving. And those who don't have money in the same society, they give them a house to stay for free. And they give them the money to eat. That's why we can sleep at night.
Exactly.
And there's a story here as well that says 2023 Edo, Ebonyi, Anambra top list of electoral offenders. I'm surprised I'm not sorry, my Rivers people. Rivers is not here. And even Imo and Delta.
We're pretty peaceful though in Delta.
Wow.
We're pretty peaceful in Delta.
But I'm surprised, somebody would have thought like a state like Lagos or Rivers will be here, Kenneth. No, I'm saying that
Lagos is just
something else.
I won't count Lagos.
At the end of the day, the numbers will never lie. You understand? The numbers will not lie. Because during the build-up to the presidential elections, we had a lot of people say, there's violence in Lagos, there's violence. Yeah, we agree there were, some places where we had issues. Not just in Lagos, but in most of the states in the country. But people made it look like as if it was in APC-owned states where all these things were happening. Electoral offense is not even about a party. It's about the social mindset of the individuals within the system. If they believe with violence that they can always have their way, then it works. But there were states where these things did not happen and they were still changed within the system.
But Kenneth, let's be careful. Edo have been known for defending their votes. Is that equal to electoral violence?
And committing electoral offenses.
No, Kenneth, the question is, there should be a little bit of difference here because I know Edo people defended the results. You understand? They went out, they voted, and they stayed. That's how Shimole managed to become a governor. You understand? So the question is, what is electoral violence? And what is, you see, by the time the law punishes the protesters and leave the people actually oppressing. So maybe we want to see this is maybe we should be shining the light on those on states that actually are good, where this violence is coming from, those causing it. Maybe those are the things we need to look at. We're not looking at APC and PDP here because I know there's no justice anywhere. There's no justice. If you see what happened in my own state, Delta State, you can't tell me that PDP didn't do their own crime.
Yeah.
You understand? They won. So now we see what happened in Bayelsa. PDP won. There's peace. If APC had won, we would say it's because they're in power.
And then if APC had, like, we even saw the guest who brought from Bayelsa did say that if APC wins the elections at that time, he would just pack his family and leave the state. And even the ex-president did say that if Siva had won, he would have just carried his mother from the state.
But why? And those are dangerous, not from the ex-president. Those are dangerous statements. You might be saying it for reasons. Do it yourself. Don't bring it up because you are a public figure. These are I'm understanding.
Jonathan said.
Jonathan one is scary. Yes, Jonathan one is scary because meaning you still have some supporters. There are things we say. If you watch America, Arnold Schwarzenegger will never curse America in a movie. Go and watch it. You understand? They won't release that movie. They said they are Libra. Because you're already an international figure, you can't curse America.
Viewers, this is Wake Up Nigeria. We're still on the newspaper review segment. We'll go on a quick break, and then when we return, we'll continue. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Are you a filmmaker in Abuja and its environ? Do you need a place for your music video, or you need a venue for your conference and even an editing suite for your post-production? Look no further. Our beautiful turret in Lokugoma has it all. We have a whole floor that consists of 3-angle lounge, a beautiful dining area, a large kitchen, a conference area that can comfortably accommodate 60 persons, and 5-bedroom adaptable for all kind of shoots. The good news is all is available at affordable price. And you know what? If you are a member of the Association of Movie Producers of Nigeria, you have 20% discount. So what are you waiting for? Hurry and contact us on the numbers on your screen now.
Hello viewers, you're welcome back from that quick break. This is Wake Up Nigeria, and of course, we move to the next newspaper. That would be the Guardian newspaper.
I will have the big headline that says poor funding raises concerns for 270 new private varsities. And you can find that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. I have another story that says tension in Kano over Guba verdict as Akeredolu Aye that Siwa crisis rocks smoothly. And that story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. I have another story that says Senate laments cyber threat to digital economy, $500 million yearly loss. You can find that story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. And here we have another story that says courts grant MFL 300 million naira bill. Other CBN to update CSO on e-naira. You can find that story on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. And here we have another story that says over 200 billion exchange rate differential pushes FAAC disbursement to 906 and 96 billion naira. You can find that story on page 18 of the guiding newspaper. And you have another story that says Adelabu Aviation Safety and Profligacy of Public Officials. And you can find that story on page 12 of the guided newspaper. And these are all the stories we have this morning on the guided newspaper. Okay, we have another story that says Governor Fubara opens two world-class health facilities. Okay, these are all the stories we have on the guided newspaper.
Very beautiful word, class health facilities, but can we afford to access them? Can the common man access them? That is the question, Kenneth. We can see the picture there, quite massive buildings, but how sure are we that, we're not going to have the same issues we've been having, Kenneth?
I want to first of all ask the Nigerian University Commission what they've been doing. You giving license to people that don't have money to run a business is not possible. The university system is a business for those that are prepared to invest in it. This is business. We're talking about private universities. Are we going to keep crying from the government universities and then we still go back to private universities to continue the same cry of underfunding, of no funding? Someone that is setting up a university business should know what they're doing about it. It's not in the process, then you now discover it's a quack university, a second-class university that is not ready to do it. But what I'm saying is this: if you look in at the analysis from Guardian, it says the total number of universities may rise to 528, which 418 are private owned. So we're already having more than half of our university educational system
And
controlled by the private
individuals.
and then we are now getting to still understand that even though they are private, they are not, they're not even funded enough to do the business. So for me, I don't really know where the problem is coming from them. If they don't have the money, they should have not come into the business. But the reason they are there from these statistics is because of a decay in the educational system. Because even if they all should shut down now, then it means we don't even have enough universities to admit people. There is still another analysis that said that out of 1.8 million candidates who applied in 2022, about 600,000, just representing 33.3%, were admitted. And then between 2018 and 2022, over 5 million candidates who applied for admission were unable to secure placement. So in fact, that's why I always say I like the guidance because they give a very
Thank you. I agree with you.
serious twist to what the news should be. So
Yes.
this is a big problem. It is if 5 million Nigerians have been denied university admission between 2018 and 2020, that's in 4 years, then it means we have a lot of people that should have been in the university due to these reasons. Because when someone loses admission, sometimes they tend to lose, motivation to even go to school again.
Yes, the interest.
And then we have people in the system that are not.
Yes, and don't forget also how it is to even jam issues here and there and all that. So when somebody loses the admission, they tend to just be withdrawn, or sometimes the energy is just down.
For me, the government should see this as a business. You understand? Like I said yesterday, the university can be a good thing. You understand? To at least give some people some that level of enlightenment. If you don't even give them job, and the only solution to all this is when the government now really provide the student the power to choose which university to go with their loan. You understand? That's what happened. The government gives you the power to choose which university I want to attend. This difference in the private and the government university would have faded out because at the end of the day, everybody is entitled to some amount of money for your school fees. Government will not allow you, private university, to charge more than that. There will be a cap on the amount you can charge students. And if you get a student, the government will pay you. If the whole system is run the way it is done here, you understand? It's the government that will pay you. So the school fees goes directly to the uni. The student go there and study. And that would have been a beautiful practice. So what I do when I have my money, I'll be the one to look for the best school for me. Understand? And the schools are looking for me because they want to make money. They want to get me as a student so they can make money. And it is then the government that will say, these are the standard.
Thank you.
For a university to run in Nigeria. You understand? It can be even, we don't have by having more. But Kenneth, you know that if our own university are given the right resources and they operate to the fullest, these whole students that are there would have been, our universities have absorbed them. You understand? And Nigerian university, we have so many in Delta State already. You understand? So how come that we are having so many children that cannot get admission? Even if the private will be fighting to get students, if we reform our university to be, if we empower them, that's what I want to use. If we empower them to run like a business, and I don't see the magic
Do
in
you
it.
know that, Kenneth, there's always a soft landing? For instance, if you go to private universities to write maybe a common entrance, or they have their way of admitting students. There's always a soft landing for them. Are you aware?
There's a soft landing because they are looking for the soft money from sometimes students, who their parents can actually afford their fees. So there's always a soft landing, yes. Most times you see their only requirement might be cut-off mark at JAMB, and then you might even get the opportunity to study professional courses that is in high demand in the universities. President, I'll take you back to what Chris is saying. If the educational system was meant to be a business inclined system, that schools are making money, then even the government universities will drop down their standard. So the little gap in standard between admission between the private and the government is not even because of that they are better or that they are worse. Is because they need more students, while the government is having an over influx of students. So they raise the standard so high that some few
To
maybe more
attract.
brilliant and more privileged
Attract.
ones work their way in there. So it's not. I don't really think them being down is because the private are not good. In fact, most of the best universities we have in Nigeria today are the private ones, the covenant universities, and all the rest of them that keep their standard so high. Despite the issues that always come with it being like secondary schools.
And the catch for me here will always be more universities, less research output, quality.
Mm.
So we're seeing more universities, but no, less research output and quality. Like Chris, go ahead.
That is the problem I talked about. The Nigerian University Commission giving licenses to people that are not ready to operate as a university. Some of the private universities you have, in fact, they even look like secondary schools. You go there, all they offer is business administration, public admin, just some few humanities courses that they could even use the same lecturer to the same way we see in secondary schools, where in private ones you see one teacher taking how many classes, while if it's in government school, you actually might have a separate English teacher, a separate intro tech teacher. So what I'm saying is the universities, we don't even have, some of them are not up to the standard. But at the same time, they seem to be the ones doing better than the government universities. Because if you come back to what Chris is saying, if it's like a business, then even the state-owned universities will invest massively in themselves because they are going to be
because they want to attract students. Can I tell you the funniest thing? A few months ago, I was talking to my friends here. Well, I have about 4 PhD holders, Nigerians who are here, and I said to them, they are working, they are lecturers, And I said, come on, guys, why don't we have our own uni? It's big money. You know what? If we can, even if we just give only maybe just humanity courses, you understand? Teach economics and and give those people free courses. What will happen is you will attract students both foreign and local, and they'll come to our uni. Imagine getting £9,000. That's the school fees here. £9,000 times. If you can get 500 students, that's a lot. Don't worry. If you have even 320, let's go. You go to 100 students. 100 times 9,000. You know how much that is, and how much are we going to use to run the uni? You see, it's really that simple to make money from it. But you know what the government does here? It's easy to do that. Boy, show me the structure. They want that the environment is on point, that the curriculum is on point, that you have enough staff, both the academic and non-academic, to run a university. So those are the requirements that will begin to drag us back. Why I'm saying this is that now that we're having issues with this kind of stuff, is the Nigerian University Commission that will then have the power to say, you're not worthy anyway. In fact, before you even go to, you will know that there are 2 people on your case. The student will not come to your uni because yours is not standard. And number 2, the University Commission will strike you down if you're not of any standard. You understand? So those 2 things, every university will begin to sit up. Like I said, it has to be privatized. And not the way they're doing it now. The government university need to be able to compete with the private. And because the government university have all the facilities, for God's sake, anything you want, They are community. They are a community of their own. Some of them are bigger than my village. So if you empower such a village, what do you get?
Anyway, we'll move on quickly to the next newspaper. That would be the Nigerian Tribune, but I'm going to take just few stories because we've seen quite a
Please.
lot already. There's a story here coming from the Nigerian Tribune that says poor nutrition can damage child's brain, and that's coming from a nutritionist. There's a
We
story
will start
here
that one again.
as well that says FG plans 75 billion naira loan to 1.5 million poor Nigerians as First Lady launches market money. That story is on page 19 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. And now these are the two stories I want us to look at here today. And a story here that says ECOWAS Parliament sack review of sanction on Niger Republic. But let's look at this story here. FG plans 75 billion naira loan to 1.5 million poor Nigerians as First Lady launches market money. We did see market money program done with Osibanjo, right?
Yeah,
Kenneth.
yeah. The office of the vice president handled
Okay,
that trader money.
trader money. Okay, we're seeing that the First Lady has launched it, and the federal government is plans to borrow 75 billion loan to 1.5 million Nigerians as the president.
Startup. It's kind of startup. Listen, well, it's about the SME. It's a good thing because and Nigeria is unique because we have these small people that goes to the market every day. They buy, they sell, and they feed their family from there. And if they can be empowered, it's always a good thing. The question is, who is monitoring it? I understand. And you see, this money should not be given to traders. You see why I'm disappointed with the federal government sometimes? They come up with this beautiful initiative and it doesn't work. Private companies like Zilapo, Lapo is doing
Yeah.
it successfully and making money. Let's put it that way. You understand? Lapo is doing it and making money. And federal government will do it and will lose money. Why? Because it's not treated as a private. You understand? That interest is not there. Before government will go into this, there should be a unique commission, not the office of the First Lady. A commission to make sure this work as a business, paying tax to the government, meaning we're giving you this money, go and invest it on the lives of people who need it most. Let them pay little bit, not as much as Lapo, back, so we'll be making money, and so that system can be sustained. You see, if you don't plan the sustainability of a system, the money will go and it will come back. Then tomorrow there will be no money to give to those who need it most. Because at the end of the day, those who have grown, the other people will keep coming. People need the system. So you give percentage. It could be 0.2%. You get this money, you pay it back. And that money is help to sustain the business. And it's good for everyone. So, and the question is, what are the modalities? Is it going to throw the money to them, like they use the money to buy food and give to people to eat? I don't support that. I think the money should attract a little bit of percentage and the system to run on its own. This money, this is what I said to my team. I want to make I'm going to give you this money. You keep making money and making me profit. Otherwise, I won't continue because it's not about me. If you guys want to be in business, you have to sustain it. Now, the federal government have oil money. They throw it there. Next time we get oil money, we throw it there. The next government that come oil money, we throw it there. Who are we deceiving? We're deceiving ourselves. If we want to be stay true to this, we want to help ourselves by making sure we give a little bit back to the system. So the system can in turn give us back. Because by the time the system have more money, they can give your children, the same women. That's the only way the system is going to give your child a better education.
Kenneth, we know that there's a story here, Kenneth. I want you to throw your weight on FAAC, federal government, states, local governments share 906.9 billion for October. But let's look at the trader money that the ex-vice president was actually in charge of. How would you rate his own, that time, his tenure?
Well, you see, trader money was a very good initiative. Not just trader money, we also had market. We had there was even okay, not market money. We had what End Power and some other initiative they came up with. But like Daddy Chris said, the reason it failed for me was because they did not work with the original partners. There are people that have been doing things like this before even the government came up with the ideas, and that is where I have a problem with Nigerian government at times. You see, when you want to do something, sometimes it's easier if you go through people that have been doing things like this. You understand? If you want to give money to market women, market money, whatever you want to call it, it is not bad if you meet Lapo and say, Lapo, since you guys are doing this, we're going to give you 20 billion out of this 75 billion. Since we already know you have capacity to do this and you need more funding to get money more to people. So we're giving you 20 billion. Now, if the bank were to give you at a 10% interest rate, as a government, we're giving you at 1% interest. Our problem is, well, in 3-4 years, return back this money with 1% interest, but you are going to give it to Nigerians under this criteria. You might not bring down the requirement a bit. Maybe because Lapo will always tell you, we want to see your shop, we want to see what you're selling before they give you. Maybe this one might not say, okay, we're even giving it to people that hook on the head. Maybe people that want to fresh startup. I would have expected to see market money as a kind of money. Since you're looking for the people in the market, go exactly to the agencies that have been doing this, the companies that have been investing in this. It is just like government saying they want to do a leadership training for the youth. Why not come to Srtv, fund the next president reality TV show? Because it is doing it practically. So there are ways government in Nigeria should be engaging. Everything must not go through the government office. That is always what I tell them when we go for submission. I say we must not always use government office because civil servants are the most corrupt people in Nigeria. There is nothing you tell me. The only people that keep Nigeria where it is today are the civil servants. Market money is going to be disbursed by civil servants as it is now. But I can't even see, the life in that project. There's a Tony Elumelu leadership, mentorship, whatever he does every year. He gives about $1,500 to each of the youth, about 100 youth. And over the years, if you go to their website, you can see the recipients of the very first one. You can see the shop where they are still located today. You can see what they are doing. Some are in laundry, some are in fabrics, some are rearing goats, some are chickens, some are even in aquaculture. There are a lot of things. If government funds this kind of people, I was expecting to see Tony Lumelu involved in youth projects in Nigeria, because he was actually the first ordinary citizen that Tinubu went to visit when he won the election. So I was even happy. I was thinking at least the foundation will receive some level of grant from the government. I'm not even saying free. Since they do this and people pay back the money, you cannot borrow them that money at a rate that the bank can never borrow them. So they have more money to put in and then use the mechanisms they have to gather this money back for you. It would have worked. But
I maybe tell them now to charge the ordinary people less, because that is the problem. You understand? Lapo now is not very friendly. You understand? If the government pops in money and say, listen, we're giving you less pressure, we're relieving your pressure, we're giving you enough money to do what you do. I won't have anything with that. But in return, you're not charging people 10%. You're charging them 6%. That becomes, and the government now plays their weight behind it. The Lapo in partnership with also government. Using that becomes a sweet word. You understand? And then there could be a monitoring body that will look at that. I think that is a way to go. I agree completely. So yeah, but leaving it in the office of the first lady, it's just making some people rich. I'm sorry.
That is true. And there's a story here, Kenneth. FAAC FG states local governments share 906.9 billion naira for October. More money. Share the money.
You see, I really want to start seeing on our headlines, federal government, states generate, not always share. They are sharing oil money. What are they generating? Someone shares 900 and something billion naira. Thank you. You've tried.
Almost 1 trillion, right?
Almost a trillion naira, because of course subsidy is now out of the question. So you could even see that Tinubu's idea of non-subsidy is now bringing more money even to the state and local government. But my question is, when they share, what do they make? If you go back and look at the VAT and other internal generated view of all the federal government and the state, in fact, it's not even up to 200 billion. It's not even sometimes 100 and something billion in a month. But you people just share 900 and something billion. So are you telling me that they cannot invest part of this money? At the end of the day, a huge amount of this money goes back to the current expenditure, fuel for cars, civil servants training, the one seminar for auditors in the government. Body of benchers are going on a retreat. The chief judges are going on a retreat. Money is being spent on you know, in fact, I'm not happy with the money they share. I'm happy that there is more money to share because, of course, our dear president, like I always say, has done more to bring in more money to the system. But
I hope
Kenneth,
you get some. I hope you will get some,
Kenneth, I'm happy you've been able to identify one of the problems of your president or of this administration. It's only insane people that will share money that you take from the ordinary Nigerian, because this money comes from subsidies. Exactly what I said on this show earlier. This is our money. We were the ones using it as subsidies. Now you take it out. Now you are sharing it to the states among yourselves, leaving us to suffer. And the labor could not even address it. They could not talk about the salary that should be changed. If the workers are not getting it, why don't invest it? If we keep this money, this amount, October, November, December, for 4 months, maybe it's enough to kickstart a refinery. It may not be enough, but you start. Things cannot begin to happen. If a private Nigerian could run a refinery, Nigeria as a country couldn't have one. May God save us. And we're praising them. Now they're sharing the money. First, look at the good thing this government has done in the same newspaper review. I don't know why we're reading all the headlines. I will talk about it after this show. But my only concern is we're doing this. We just saw now that they have a place where they said they share the amount of money coming in. The one they share now is just one part of it. Look at the waste of money we'll be talking about since. This money goes here, this one goes here, this one goes here. Or if this thing is well coordinated, Nigeria does not look, we don't have shortage of money in the country. How can you say we don't have money and we have money to do all these things? It's disturbing. I don't think I belong to this system at all. I better, like I said, I keep my mouth shut.
And there's a story here that says poor nutrition can damage a child's brain. I wish a lot of mothers know about this.
And what are they going to do about it?
You give them good food.
Where?
Children, parents, why can't you give your children good food?
The question is from where? Is it not what they have they give to the children?
You don't understand, sir. We live in a country where I think it's something I want to look into critically. We live in a most of our parents, or let me say young parents, they are so keen. For instance, I went to a course one time like that. We did a training. I covered it actually in church. And, the doctors that came were actually talking to mothers. You might want to be giving your child noodles all the time. You feel like it's a good food. We're not preaching against noodles. And sometimes there are no vegetables, just the noodles and maybe, just give to them. And it becomes a daily routine for them. Sometimes, you just give them biscuits. Sometimes you just give them things that sometimes when children are growing up, you're supposed to know what, as a mother, you research, that this is what is good for the child. Sometimes the child, children have habits of not wanting to eat a particular thing. Or like now, children are so used to noodles. And if you don't give them noodles, like my kid brother, up till now, because that was what actually he started eating while he was young. So if he doesn't see noodles a day, is a problem. And these children are not so used to a certain food, and they grow up eating that, feeling okay, this is it. But we can see now that if you don't give them, you need to mix it. You need there should be a blend, whether or not they love what. Like I know some
like in homes where there are alternatives. All right.
Yes.
Well, what I'm saying, my question was,
how much is
noodles,
sir? Yes, is what we're saying. Let's break it down.
Yes, and so if there's enough money or if there's an alternative, then you can talk about that. My worry is some people cannot even, they barely have what to give. So if they can afford noodles, that's what we eat. You understand?
How much is noodles? To be sincere, sir. To be sincere, if you really want to some of this food, even vegetables are cheap. Sweet potatoes are cheap.
Princess, cheaper than synthetic food in Nigeria.
Yeah, maybe I agree, but that is a good thing way to think. You understand? But educating them may be important on that. Otherwise, you're talking about people that earn this indecent amount of money. In a home, what do you expect? Is it not what they can come up with that they will give? Do you have time to say this is what we eat now, this is what we eat now? Only when you have alternative. That's my worry. So Nigerian poverty level is unacceptable. And it's caused by these same old practices we see now. Giving this thing to the office of the First Lady. These women, if we're given the right money, because 90% of the poor people in Nigeria are those ones this first lady is going to address now. You understand? If the money will go to these people and say, hey, go to market. If you buy tomatoes today, sell. You make something to go and feed your family. Then you can talk to these people reasonably. Don't go to government work because the government salary is discouraged. I will not tell anybody to go and do government work in Nigeria. To get paid 40,000 naira, 50,000. So you understand, the government has successfully kicked people out of their labor market. A time will come, nobody want to do any job. The civil servants you are talking about, you are even blaming Kenneth. Nobody want to go there. Because if I start selling akara in Nigeria now, I'll make more money than the palm sec.
Legally.
Yes, selling akara that is actually doing very well. You saw him.
Legally, not illegally.
Yeah, the question is, Kenneth, so when you see the legality, if it's legal to avoid tax, it's only illegal to dodge tax. I'm use my word. They are doing it legally because they are avoiding the tax. They have not dodged it because you did not enforce it and they did not pay.
And that is why the federal government said earlier that they are going to, enforce the law.
Yeah, you understand? But there's two things. When you say anybody, even in the UK, we avoid tax. It's only when you dodge it, that's when you have a problem with the government. Government will tell you, do everything to do to avoid tax. Write it off. You understand? There's a way, there's always a scheme you can use to write it, so many things off. It's legal. So, and the system in Nigeria does not actually encourage you to go to work. I would rather do my petty business than do this now, PAMSEC something. The director of the Federal Republic of Nigeria earns 300,000 naira. And he lives in Abuja. How much is their rent? Exactly. Automatic poverty. A director.
Funny enough, a lot of people in Abuja actually work for their rents, except you have, other ways of working outside.
That's why
that is why a lot of us in Abuja that have lived in Abuja for years, you have to, resort to ways of, doing business outside work, something that will give you, serious money. You do other business, you must have a shop, you must run, anything, buying and selling, whatever, but you must have, because your salary alone cannot even pay your rent.
So in other words, it's a waste of time actually working.
And that is why you see majority of civil servants, their weight is actually on Yanya, Zuba, far places, because if you think of within around the central area here, you cannot even afford it. Joke apart. We move on quickly to the Punch Sport Extra now. I'll take a few stories here, and the main headline says, Most Wanted, Nigerian striker Victor Boniface emerges as major transfer target for clubs in Europe's top 5 leagues. Most Wanted, Nigerian striker Victor Boniface emerges as major transfer target for clubs in Europe's top 5.
And we don't have a national team that can do well. And now you're saying, Kenneth is saying that our international players are not good. If you look at that, they are shopping for our boys here. It's not taking advantage of them. You understand?
Is their commitment to the green, white, green that I question when they come back? They are not so
but Kenneth, why would they be committed if they know they don't have a future with you? They are not secured. The basic things you need for your life. Yakini died. Look at the Oroma. You understand? These are people that have served the country. Why would you want to do that? Perhaps we should be telling ourselves, we should be reforming ourselves as a nation that football can be a big business. Again, because we refuse to monetize it. That's why it's telling on the government. The government think they are smart by not trying to do the things right. Monetize these structures. The sports sector in Nigeria can be big business. If the government cannot do it, partner with the private people, but make it viable. Now, these boys don't want to come home to come and play for us. And a big congratulations to Nigerians and to this guy. Look at them. Osimhen is on the top list. We know him.
Yes,
and now look at this one.
There's another headline here that says Osimhen may miss Atlanta clash. I think I think right now he has injury, right? He's injured and he's on treatment. We have another story here. AB defends Eagles' performance, and there's a catchy story here that says ECOWAS Abuja marathon winner to get 10 million naira. That is quite catchy for me. And
but that is only when marathon gets attention. You understand? It's a big deal.
It's not easy though. Sometimes in Abuja when I'm driving out, I see them because they come around Apo, bridge, roundabouts, and through a Sokoro and all around Abuja. So it's quite. The other time before I even traveled, I saw them doing other marathon. It's not an easy thing, but if you have the energy, you can. And of course, 10 million naira will not easily come by. So you already know that you have to work for it. But Kenneth, what? There's a story here also that says Nigerian begin T20 World Cup quest against Kenya.
Well, is the junior team under 20 and his qualifiers and all those stuff. But me personally, I even want to look at the story on Ndidi and Sevilla bidding for him. I feel happy for the young man. Like I said that I agree. It's not like we don't have good players in Europe. They do well, but they don't want to wear the green, white, green. If they don't want to wear it, if they don't feel proud to wear it, if they feel like it's not giving them enough, then we should be looking for people in Nigeria that want to wear it.
I hear that, but even the ones that want to wear it in Nigeria now are wearing it because of their condition. So it's not a thing to do. We should think of how to make
a way for us to win.
But
It becomes a strategy to win. Even if
they
wear it,
you are right.
condition will put more effort.
Our condition ourselves needs us to go to World Cup.
Yes.
You understand? Our own condition as fans needs us to go to World Cup.
You give us the drive. You understand? We want to succeed. I agree with you. No, Kenneth, it's two things. When a poor man child gets a chance to go to university, they study hard because they know this is their last chance. You understand? But when you send a rich man son there, he doesn't care. He has a good life already. I can understand that. But that's not to say we should encourage poverty.
I'm saying encourage people that have drive to do the thing. So
but what I'm saying now is because this drive is not because of the passion for the game. It's poverty. Because those who are doing well wouldn't want to take that risk. And it's not a good thing. Nigerians should think of why these guys are not ready to give their best for us. And if we can identify that, we have the best players around the world. And my concern too is we should not even be condemning or be looking down or giving bad names to those who are abroad because they care. In fact, the money they see earning fed to them, Kenneth. It goes back to Nigeria. I can tell you that Nigerians abroad will contribute 25% of the Nigerian GDP.
Yeah, sure.
Money we send home. And so it is wrong for us not to vote, one. And number two, those of us who are ready to come and contribute to the society, sometimes we got kidnapped. And the footballer coming to play, if they break leg, you will not take care of them. Come on, man. We don't have excuse. These guys are, there's no excuse here. People can record their experiences. I can tell myself that anything I earn in the United Kingdom goes to Nigeria. And so, if it is so, imagine the amount of sacrifices we make. Sometimes, you understand, for a country we call our own. And yet, some people with some bad stomach, with fat stomach, who they don't swear for. That's how my people say, because only person they throw for life, they let the big like that. Because I'm not fat now, they give that excuse. You understand? So, don't mind me. But what I'm saying is, it is right to do this right. And we know what to do. Encourage the players. Let there be security for them so that even when they go, they want to come back.
Even the analyst I brought said that as well. You need to work on their psychic as well, and a lot has to be done for them to know that okay, they will give it all. That would be a good place to wrap up the review segment this morning. And of course, we'll go on a quick break when we return. There's something I really want us to discuss on, but I'm still trying to bring in the guests from Kano. But Kenneth is a lawyer, so we'll just touch on it quickly before we wrap up the show. We'll be right back. viewers, you're welcome back from that quick break. Now, Kenneth, you as a lawyer, let's look at this kind of issue critically. Appeal court insists on Governor Yusuf Sak admit errors in certified judgments. As a lawyer, do you think this is right? Let's look at this at the error, because we live in a country where anything politics, politicians actually have followers, right? They have their fan and all that. And knowing fully well that Kano is a state that I think most, I stand to be corrected, but most of the resident, or most of the people, I think they, anything that has to do with Kwankwaso actually is, they love it. I don't know, for whatever reason. And now we've seen that the error, who is to be blamed on this?
You see, Princess, like I said earlier today, what is happening in Kano is a disgrace to the judiciary, because a certified true copy, let us go back to the basic. A certified true copy is not something you browse on Google to get. It is a written, word by word statement of the judgment, and someone certified it before it became a certified true copy. So it's not like as if you just go to court and then the court clerk will just type something and print it out for you and give you. It is brought out, someone goes through it, attests to it, stamps on it, and then gives it out as a statement to both the press, to the parties involved, and everybody can now get that as a certified true copy of what transpired in court. So whoever has done such a clerical error should be arrested for felony. Is a treasonable offense, because this is playing with fire. Remember that when this statement was first given, if we're looking at it peculiarly, you know, when the judgment was first given, there was no crisis in the states. Yes, people were of course going to protest because it's politics. Nobody wants to lose power like that, and people always fight. And there's still avenue to still get redress, even at Supreme Court. I'm not looking at it on a plain level. But the moment the certified true copy came out, and then the press got wind that it is not a reflection of what the judge has read out at the court, and of course what the court has put as their position, then you begin to see the resentment grows more. It is able to now push a narrative that the government is conspicuously trying to change or subvert the will, even the will of the court itself. So he even had to take the court to come out and say, no, this is our position, this is our judgment, it is a clerical error. Then it becomes the serious problem is who sabotaged the judiciary system to the extent of getting a certified true copy that does not reflect what was read in court. Princess, let me tell you again, this also shows you the desperation of the average Nigerian politician, because nobody made this. As far as I'm concerned, it is not a mistake in oversight. It is a well-calculated mistake to breed resentment, to breed a kind of tension within the state, like we're seeing now. And this might even be a reason to now waive the decision of the Supreme Court. Because let me tell you, at the end of the day, when it comes to electoral issues, the Supreme Court does not just rule based on fact and evidence. They also consider national security. They consider a lot of things before they take a position. So you could see even in Abia State, when the then governor Okezi Bazo was about to have a Supreme Court judgment 2 days before, his political supporters had to mobilize themselves, flooded the whole streets of Aba and Umuahia. So it could give the court a mindset that if you don't do this right, there could be crisis in the state. So they might want to put aside some technicalities and then look at the bigger body in context. I understand this as a political strategy. The NNPP might want to use that because, say what you may, NNPP has a high proportion of people within the states. And even APC is not trying to win this case based on votes cast. They are only trying to win it on technicality that the man was not a candidate. Such might want to play out according to the electoral laws, but I don't think the court might want to use that now, based on what they are seeing as a kind of massive protest, and it could breed unrest within the states. So it's a political game as far as I'm concerned, a well-calculated one. You might want to give Kwankwaso, kudos for that, because that is Nigerian politics, and that is
you already laid blames on Kwankwaso. Let us be careful. You understand? I will say that, my people say, there's a bed that will
the streets are NNPP supporters, and Kwankwaso is the figurehead of NNPP.
I know.
Not those kind of people. The
hear
party
you.
members are there. They are doing things.
If that is the question is, why would the governor even honor it? If this is why I'm very disappointed in Yusuf. Yusuf, you were in the court when the judgment was read. The judgment was read loud and clear. And somebody, if the court clerk give you something contrary, and you were happy to go out and present that and begin to use that as a political gimmick, it's disheartening. That's not something we should be doing. And this is going to actually tell on your case right now, because you lost people's sympathy if that is the case. But again, like I said, I don't know the details, but if that is the case, it's disturbing, worrisome. You can't do that.
But Kenneth, how optimistic are we that whatever the Supreme Court will give the verdict there will be calm in Kano State, because we've seen the arrest for days now. And don't forget also another thing in this kind of issue is that people, might just want to take adjust this opportunity, to perpetuate, whatever they have in mind to cause mayhem in the society. But how optimistic are we that we're going to see a Kano that is calm after the Supreme Court, or what is the way forward now? What do you think is the way forward?
Princess, let me tell you, anybody can say what they want, but after God is his government. So if the judiciary takes a position and say, we are sticking to the electoral laws, and you did not emerge your division in your party, you were not even, your own faction was not recognized by the court, and of course you don't have a candidacy, then let me tell you, nobody can change that. If you want to protest, there could be unrest, there could be some civil crisis, but this is government. Government has all the mechanism it takes to take over a state in Nigeria. We're not talking about a region, it's a state. So if the people protest and the government says they want to put boots on ground, I can bet you the government will man security forces. I'm not in support of that, but if the government takes a position on standing by the judgment, if the Supreme Court gives a ruling, remember, the Supreme Court is the final court of arbitration in Nigeria. So when the Supreme Court gives a ruling, nobody is going to take any position against that. Even the governor, if he decides to act outside that, then he himself is presenting himself for treasonable felony and could be charged for that. You remember even Donald Trump in US had a time that his supporters invaded the Capitol, and he's still having crisis with the judiciary up till now. We were talking about the most powerful man in the world as at that time. So it is not for the people to determine. Yes, the people had already laid their wishes at the polls, but the anger should be channeled possibly at the governor. I think Bello says something of such. Then he did not rectify the cracks in the party, because this is taken in account based on what happened before even the election. So it is a ground for disqualification. It has happened before. The cases are built on precedent. Remember the case between Yeson Wike and Tony Prince, Tony Korada of the APC in Rivers State. That was the first election that brought Wike into power. There was a massive support for Tony Ko at that moment, because Amechi was in power and he was sponsoring Tony Ko of the APC. So we had a lot of people who were, optimistic about him. Riverine, of course, they didn't want an Ikwereman to finish in Amechi, and only Ikwereman take over from Wike. But Wike won Tony Ko through technicalities. As a lawyer, they understood the importance of, you might not like it, but this politics of instigating crisis within the political party. And at the end of the day, they had two factions, the Magnus Abi faction and the Tony Ko faction, and they could never settle on a particular candidate. Tony Ko was on ballots based on court injunctions that had made INEC to take him up as a candidate. But when it came back to the court and it was discovered that this faction was not duly recognized, what happened? They could not even go to court again to protest over the election, because he was not even a candidate as it is. They disqualified their party from fielding a candidate. And I think that is the same technicality APC is going to be using against Kanu, against the PDP in Kanu. You might not want it, but it is the law. Electoral laws are well spelled out. It is not left for the players to play according to the rule. You cannot change the game. You cannot change the rules of the game when the game is in motion. It does not work like that. So the way forward is for them to stick with the court and put their house in order next time. They can try again in 2027. If this
no reasonable governor will go against, will tell people to go on the street if the court gives a judgment. If you watch them, even if they do it behind, they come out openly and say, the people should stay calm, And like I said, if you can pretend, then you can be good. We don't care what you do behind. But on the open, you cannot. And if you do that, like you said, it's treasonable felony. It's easy. So I don't think I have a problem with that. Nigerian government have always, even the politicians have always respected the decision of the courts. I've never seen where they openly, only Baba one time, Buhari was saying he's going to make the country ungovernable. But he even said that behind closed door. It doesn't make the country ungovernable. So like you said, next to government, next to God is government. And if the people understand that, because the government that give you international passport, they tell you the kind of school your child will go, the food you eat, the health system you have. You understand? Even your transport system, your security. You could be killed. So these are people that they run the police. So you must respect the government. Even God respects government. I was saying something to somebody this morning. I said, if you look at the Bible carefully, when God wanted to pass certain things, the children of Israel were in captive. He wanted to set them free. God had to devise a means. He didn't kill the kings. He didn't kill Pharaoh. He asked them to go. Pharaoh refused. There got to be war. But the war got to be done by man, not by God.
Of course.
You understand? And in some cases, we saw God sending Esther and Ruth to go and soften the place so the children of Israel will have peace. So what I'm saying is, there is next to God is government. So the more reason why we should take our government seriously. It is too important. And I always say to political illiterate, if you choose to be a political illiterate, that becomes your vote. You can't ask no vote. It's still recorded as a vote. Because that's how election goes. So people voted, so people registered, so people, even the social population, only so people registered, you are still counted. And at the end, this is the man that won. That person is binding on you. Even God recognized that. So be careful. So those of you that don't believe in this, I think you should believe in God and believe in government. Thank you.
Well, we hope that whatever happens in Kano, there will be calm in that state. Regardless, I'm going to make sure I bring somebody from that state tomorrow here on the show. I'll do my best to make sure we have them here so that we can even hear from them what's it like. And of course, we are still, like that Chris said, we don't think that there's any politician who wants to, boycott the law or wants to say, okay, he's above the law. Whatever happens, the decision of the court will always be the decision of the courts. That would be a good place to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for being on the show. That Chris, Kenneth, and Mary. We'll do this again tomorrow.
Now, Kenneth, before you just disappear, what is going on with the next presidential show?
Well, the show is really building up momentum. Starting from today, we'll be having the online judgments of the contestants from some of the states. We want to close on that. So far, we've been able to get all the contestants from the FCT and the Nasarawa has already made their presentations, and KB also has made presentations. So we'll be announcing winners, of course, in any due time. In this case, the judges are the INEC. So we are allowing them to
I hope you guys are not Mahmoud is not there. He's not among them because
no, there is no Mahmoud in this case, sir. So we're allowing them to compile their scoring and come up with winners. And of course, like I said, from today we'll be having the online. Some of the states will be having their judgments done online where they present their manifestos for the judges to have a final count of what they've been able to do. And it's a build-up. Hopefully by the 11th of December, we will be seeing all the youth governors in Abuja contesting for the coveted seat of the youth president. And then let's see who will be the Baba this year and get it for us.
All right. It looks as if you guys are really ready. So you were saying that we will be able to watch your live broadcast of the next governor's shows.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
right
exactly
here.
so.
All right, that's a good one. Like I said, let there be no Mahmoud. Right? We don't want chaos. When we have chaos like we have in Kano now, I hope you put your heart together and learn from this. And another thing I was going to ask is, what happened to the trust fund for the youth? Is it still in place?
The trust fund, unfortunately, was not properly launched this year, but we're expecting at the grand finale of this year's next president, we will be officially launching it so that the governors have funds to, of course, perform their statutory roles within their state, and also the president also has some funds to embark on projects that he might want to wish to do. Already we started introducing the idea to the aspirants even at the state level, so that they know that it is also up to them to get funding for these funds, as much as we will be doing our best as the organizers to get well-recognized Nigerians make contributions on the grand finale towards that fund. But we are also hoping that the aspirants themselves will also be able to use their political goodwill to pull in sponsors and people that can put in something into that purse for them to work.
All right. So the trust fund is to actually to help those who have the potential and want to run and don't have the means to do so.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. I think then we can end the show on that.
All right, viewers, thank you so much for being on the show. We do this again tomorrow. Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and X, and of course, YouTube. Subscribe and invite somebody to the page. Leave us with your comments as well. And don't forget our Srtv packages. I will book your ticket, travel tours across the world, and of course, our event coverage and rentals, and our magazine for as low as 30K to showcase your brand and your products. When you are out there, remember that peace is priceless. So let's always give peace a chance. See you tomorrow.
Well, I like to see you tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow. And like I really said, it's good to stay out of trouble. Hey, what I like, Princess, I don't like peace. I like justice. So give peace a chance, but look for justice. Thank you.
So, for instance, before you go, or I'll say that behind the camera, it will be safer there.
Okay.